My name is Mav Turner, and I'm the Senior Director of Product Management at SolarWinds. So legacy IT systems impact information security in a number of ways. The primary way is that you often can't secure them. So the access methods that are used to log into a legacy system often don't support the more modern encryption protocols or methods, token-based authentication. Even things like cat card or single sign-on often don't work as well as they do with modern applications. So that's usually the number one thing you should look at for the legacy application is, can you even secure access to them properly, and are they meeting the standards that are required for your organization? Again, often these encryption algorithms and the different standards that are used don't meet today's standards, if they're even using encryption. Unfortunately, I talk to a lot of customers that are still using unencrypted protocols such as Telnet instead of SSH. This is both in the federal space as well as commercial. And so that's something that's it's out there, and these are legacy systems. Again, these are probably 20 years old, 30 years old in some cases. And if they're even older than that, then they're certainly not going to have the same level of security to access. So a lot of the access control mechanisms that you need just simply aren't available in some of these legacy applications. Now, that's not always true. There are times where some of these applications they do have pretty strong mechanisms, but again, if you're not able to keep these up to date, if the vendor no longer supports the application, or if the vendor is no longer updating the different protocols that are being used, the different algorithms, then it's very likely that the authentication mechanism is vulnerable to attack. The second most important thing to think about is whether or not you can actually patch that system. So does the vendor provide regular security patches as vulnerabilities are announced? And does the underlying operating system that this application run on, is it being patched? So again, I still see a lot of operating systems for Windows XP that are out there in the environment, and the application requires Windows XP. It can't run on Windows 7 or 10, and the underlying operating system is now obviously the most vulnerable part of the entire stack. So it's not just the application, it's also the infrastructure that that application needs. Again, the operating system or legacy networking protocols that are still in place. I think we made a lot of progress in the network infrastructure component. Ethernet's pretty standard. It's hard to find token ring or other applications or other networking protocols, although they still are out there. But generally what we find is that the operating system, the underlying OS, even if you can update the application, the underlying OS is most vulnerable. The third part is being able to actually access those systems from different locations. So a lot of legacy applications don't support a mechanism to minimize the number of ports that are being accessed, to really kind of segment the different parts of the network that need access to the system, because it needs access to a lot of different underlying systems. If you can segment the infrastructure, then you can provide better security. But because of the way these applications are written, if they weren't written with that in mind, then there's a large risk that the segmentation won't work, and that you've really opened yourself up. Instead of decreasing that attack surface, you've actually expanded the attack surface by using some of these legacy applications.